guys, it's Kendra. Today I'm doing a video all on breastfeeding. If you're new to my channel, I have twin girls. They are going to be 15 weeks this week, which is crazy. So I've been wanting to do this video for a long time. I've been putting it off just because there's so many things that I want to talk about and I just was a little overwhelmed. So I'm hoping that this video is not going to be completely all over the place. Let's hope that I can, I don't know, explain it in a, I don't even know. We'll see what happens. So I'm going to do my best to tell you everything that I possibly can about my experience breastfeeding them since they were born up until now, because a lot has changed, especially in the last 2 weeks. A lot has changed. So I hope you all find this video helpful and let's get started. So I started breastfeeding right away right when they were born. I had a nurse who helped me. She helped me show how to get a proper latch and also helped me express, so hand express, where you like squeeze your boob until you get the colostrum out. It's more of a yellow color and you get it right before your breast milk comes in, and it's super nutritious for the babies and just really, really beneficial. So what I did when they had to spend 4 hours in the nursery when they were born, because they were born at 36 weeks, which is a standard thing that they do. So when they were there, I was hand expressing my colostrum into little vials and saving that for when they could come, just to give them extra milk or extra colostrum if they couldn't suck right away. I ended up getting a lot of colostrum. It was great. The nurse was super happy with it. So what I did then, this feels like so long ago now, but what we were doing is I would try to get them to nurse, and then I had these little tiny, it was a long little, looked like it's a tube, but very, very thin tube. And I would stick that like a little bit into their mouth as they're on me, and I would slowly syringe some of the colostrum into their mouth so they were getting extra at the same time. So I'm trying to think how long I did that for, maybe a couple weeks, and my mom would help me. She would stick the little tube into their mouth while I held one baby and try to give them a little bit more. So that was good to just help them get used to it and get a little bit more nutrition into them if they weren't, you know, sucking enough. And my milk ended up coming in pretty quick. Like once I got home, my milk came in, and that was really nice. I was tandem breastfeeding them like at the same time for a few weeks. So I had a nursing pillow called the Twin Z pillow. I don't use it anymore, but I used it in the very beginning. And it has a pillow in the back and then 2 sides here. So you prop them up on either side and they would both nurse at the same time. It got a little tricky with latching because one would be latched on and then the other one I'd try to get on, and if she got on then the other one would fall off. So it was kind of hectic. It took a lot of patience, but I was realizing that they weren't nursing that well at the same time. So I tried them one at a time and it worked so much better. So from that point on, I just decided I'm going to nurse them one at a time. It worked the best just because they were way more comfortable just laying across my body. I was more comfortable, more relaxed, and I could just focus on one baby at a time. Now, in the beginning, like the first couple weeks, I definitely did get sore. My nipples got a little bit kind of scabbed. They didn't bleed ever, but they just were really tender. And I would notice if they weren't like properly latched on, if they were just kind of on the end, it would hurt really bad. So my main thing that I was trying to do was really like shove it in their mouth so that they would latch on and get used to it. It took them a good couple months, honestly. I'm trying to think, maybe it took probably at least 2 months for them to get used to the sucking. It took a lot of patience because they get really frustrated, but something that I found that really helped in the beginning and even now is I would I would kind of cup my breast from the underneath and kind of squeeze it into their mouth, and also I would try to get a little bit of milk out so they could taste the milk, and that would kind of initiate them to start sucking. And I have to do that now actually sometimes. So I just find that holding it in the position helps them stay on, because sometimes if I let go, they're totally fine. And sometimes actually when I let go, they nurse better. But other times if I let go, then they'll fall off and I have to, you know, get them back on. So it's just different all the time. I just have to kind of adjust. And if one thing doesn't work, then I try something else, try a different position until they, you know, start nursing for a while. One thing that did help me when I was first nursing, when my nipples were really sore, was nipple butter, the one from Earth Mama Angel Baby. It was easy to apply and it's good for the baby. Like, it's fine if they eat it. So I would just apply it morning and night, actually maybe just in the middle of the night, and it just did a really good job at softening them up, and it felt very soothing, and it was really a lifesaver. So what I typically do is when one baby gets hungry, usually it's, you know, one first and the other. If they get hungry at the same time, that's when it's a little tricky, because if I'm by myself, then I have to just let her cry while I nurse the other. So what I try to do is, say I'm by myself and nobody else is there to hold the other baby if they're hungry at the same time, is honestly just try to relax is the most important thing. I just try to take a deep breath even if the baby's not crying, just relaxing just really helps your milk to come out. So I'll take a deep breath, and if she's crying, I know it sounds bad, but I have to try to tune her out and just realize that it's important to feed the one baby that I have and know that I will get to her. She's fine. She's just hungry, and it'll pass. So that's kind of what I do. I just try to relax. But that is something, if you guys are having twins, if you do have twins, you have to it's really hard. It's like the most painful thing to have to hear the one crying, because you know she's just hungry, but it's just, there's nothing to do about it. The other thing that I do now sometimes, if I'm done with one, instead of putting her in her swing, because sometimes she'll cry if she's by herself, I will prop her up next to me so she can see me. So I'll have her and I can just kind of look at her and talk to her while I'm nursing the second girl. So it's taken a little bit of practice to kind of figure out what works, but honestly, patience is the main thing that you have to have. If you aren't patient, then you're going to get super frustrated, you're going to get really stressed, and the more stressed you are, the harder it is to nurse, because you need to be really relaxed to have your milk come. So when I'm feeding one baby, I just hold her normal. I don't use any special nursing pillow anymore, and I used to go side to, sometimes I will try both sides. So I'll, nurse her on one side. A lot of the time, if they get frustrated, I will switch, and then they'll start nursing right away. So it's kind of weird. Sometimes if like the one side gets too wet, then they'll stop and they'll cry, and I'll switch to the other side and they will start nursing back again right away. So switching a couple times definitely helps, and especially if maybe they're falling asleep, that will wake them up and get them going again. When they were really young, my main thing that I had a problem with was them falling asleep. So I had to continuously try to keep them awake while nursing them, but that doesn't really happen anymore unless it's in the middle of the night sometimes. They nursed a lot longer when they were younger. Like, it was 30 minutes each girl, and I think just mainly because it was a long process, and I changed their diaper every time before, and it took a long time to get them to latch on, and they weren't nursing as quickly or as efficiently. But now when they're on, they nurse a lot quicker, they gulp a lot more, so it's a lot quicker. So once one girl is done, I will grab the next baby, and if she's fine, if she's not crying or anything or not super hungry, then I'll try to burp the first one. And when I grab the second one, I'm always like hoping that there's gonna be enough milk. And I didn't really have a problem in the beginning. It was fine. I always felt like I had enough milk. It wasn't until a few weeks ago that I did notice that my milk supply was not as good as it was. They were definitely going through a growth spurt. They kind of still are, and they were wanting to nurse around the clock. I nurse them very frequently. Like, honestly, as soon as they start to get fussy, I will try to nurse them, and that usually will help a lot. So I would say on average every 2 hours. Sometimes it's every hour, sometimes it's every 3 hours. It just really depends. In the middle of the night, it's still probably every 3 hours, I want to say. 2 to 4 hours is kind of the range. When they first go to bed, they usually fall asleep for 4 to 5 hours. It's lately been like 4 hours. And then after that, it's like every 3 hours that they're up to nurse. And then I was noticing that they were getting really fussy. I'd be trying to nurse, and they would just, usually it was the second baby that I'd have would get fussy, and she would get really frustrated, and I wouldn't know what to do, and I was like, maybe they're not hungry. So I would just try to like soothe them and then put them to bed, and it wasn't working. They were screaming. It was so much screaming. Like, once they had 3 months, it was more fussiness than I had ever experienced, and I just kept thinking, this is not right. Like, they should be kind of growing out of that phase. And so then that's when I started realizing maybe they're not getting enough milk. And I did weigh them. It was like 1 week I weighed them, and then I weighed them the following week, and they hadn't gained any weight. So I was wondering, maybe they're just not getting enough to eat. I had a couple different bags of milk that I had stored up from pumping early on. I would definitely suggest you guys pump I'll get into pumping in a sec, but I wish I had pumped before I actually needed to, just so I could store up some more milk, because I only had like 4 baggies of milk. I wish I had so much more, because now I'm really trying to pump a lot to keep up with it, but it would be very nice if I had a lot more stored up. So I took one of the bags of the milk that I had in the freezer, put it in a bottle, because I wanted to see also if they would take to a bottle. And they ended up they ended up drinking the bottle right away, like gulping it. So that just showed me that they were hungry and they were just getting frustrated because there wasn't as much milk as before. Once I realized that they weren't getting enough food, that's when I decided to start pumping and to help increase my milk supply. What I also think had an effect on it is, one, stress. I think I was getting stressed because they were extra fussy and it was just taking a toll on me. I also think that I was just extremely busy. At the time I was doing so much with YouTube and I was getting really, really busy. And so whenever they were sleeping, I never stopped. The second they would go down for a nap, I'm running around the house, either cleaning or working. So I think that also had an effect. And I started working out around the same time. So that could have been it too. I was getting more cardio in, so I'm not doing as much cardio. We'll talk about working out too at the end. And I was eating less because I was so busy. So all of those things really, I definitely think, contributed to my milk supply going down, because I wasn't getting enough calories. Probably wasn't drinking enough water. So now I'm trying to eat a lot more. I'm trying to be really conscious of eating all the time and drinking a lot more water. I'm also drinking Gatorade to get some more electrolytes. I cut out most dairy. I cut out like broccoli, spicy foods. I wrote down, what else did I cut out? Sugar, most caffeine, just to help with the fussiness. But honestly, I think the fussiness, a lot of it had to do with them being hungry. It also could have been foods, but honestly, when I cut out all the food things, I felt like they got more fussy. So I just think they were going through a growth spurt. So what I was doing then is if one baby was fussy and wouldn't start nursing, then I'd give her a bottle of my milk and she would eat and be totally happy. It was like amazing. A lot of you guys were telling me, you need to nurse more to produce more milk. And I get it. However, they wouldn't nurse. It was like, they would get to my breast and they would get so frustrated, like they couldn't smell the milk, and they would just work themselves up, and it was like, oh my goodness, they are going crazy. So it's not like I could force her to nurse. So giving them the bottle with my milk totally helped and just calmed them down, made them so much happier. I just had to take a break to feed the girls, so I'll just tell you what happened just now, because this is kind of what happens like once a day or so. So I fed June. She nursed on both sides, and then I fed Violet. She started to nurse. Switched her a couple different times to see if she nursed more, and she got frustrated, and I was kind of squeezing to see if there's milk, and it was coming out but not as quick. So I just heated up. Andrew's mom is out there with them right now. I heated up some of my milk that I had frozen, that I pumped earlier, and she's drinking the bottle right now, and she takes it right away. So it could definitely be that it comes out a little faster in a bottle, and so they might just like that, but I just think that they want a full boob of milk. And also I was kind of testing it to see like if there really wasn't milk in there. So after one time that happened, I went and pumped, and there actually was not really much milk at all. Like maybe a half an ounce came out. So I just think it's 2 babies, so there's got to be a ton of milk for both of them, and I just think sometimes there just isn't. So that's what I've been doing, and that has definitely helped. The other thing that I was doing is I wanted to test out formula and see what would happen, just in case I didn't have enough milk stored up for them. So one day I just gave them a 4-ounce bottle with 2 scoops of formula. I have it's called Earth's Best. I think that's some organic, non-GMO formula. It's a really good option. I get it from Vitacost. I just ordered another one from Vitacost that's for sensitive babies, so I'm gonna try that out. But what I did is I gave each of them a bottle of it with 2 scoops, and just to see how they were. And they were fine. They drank it fine and everything was fine. I also just poured a little bit of my milk in there too to kind of ease them into it. Last night I tried giving them a bottle of formula to see if it helped them sleep longer. So I nursed them first and then I gave them a bottle, and it did not. June drank it, Violet wouldn't drink it. but June woke up the same time she always does. So I don't think it really helped that. I was like hoping, please let this make them sleep longer, and it didn't do anything. I'm trying to nurse as much as I possibly can. So even if I do give them a bottle, I will nurse after to get that stimulation going, or I'll nurse first and then follow up with a bottle. So I'm still nursing the same amount as I did before. It's just I'm adding on some additional milk for them because I just think they need a little bit extra. And then as far as pumping goes, what I've been doing is pumping in the morning and at night. So twice a day. I usually get, at first I wasn't really getting much at all, but after I started incorporating a couple things to help increase my milk supply, I'm now getting like 3 ounces each time, which is great. Like usually 2 to 4 ounces I'll get after feeding them. So I'm still getting a ton of milk, which is great. And then I will pump again at night. The pump that I have is by Medela, I think it's the name. I'll link it down below. It's an automatic pump. It's a very high-tech one. I knew that I needed something kind of intense since I was having twins. I needed to get that milk going. So it has 2 suction cups that you put on, and you just turn it on. It's super easy. I keep it on our desk, and so whenever I use it, I can just go on the computer, and it's very easy and convenient. And there's only like 2 parts that you need to use. And then I use these to attach to my bra when I'm pumping. They are amazing. If you guys pump, you need these in your life. So the company is called Bravado Designs, and they are sold at a couple different places. I think they're sold at Nordstrom. You can just get them on their website. This is called Click and Pump. I have some nursing bras from the same company, and obviously these work the best with those. But I also have other nursing bras, and they do still work on those as well. So this is a hands-free nursing bra accessory. So what you do is you unclip your nursing bra. I always have nursing bras on. And you just bring it down the front flap. And then this one's super dirty. I really need to wash this one. I'll use the clean one. It looks like this. So you just clip it on to either side, and then you hook it in the back, and it has this opening that you can put your cup or your little, whatever they're called, suction cup bottle thing through, and it has this design that makes it super easy. So before, what I was doing, I had an old sports bra that I just cut 2 holes in the front, and I would use that, and it was not convenient at all. This one might be easier to show you. Ignore the stains, but you can see how it has like this little flap. So you just kind of weave in the little suction, and that way your hands free, so I can do anything that I want at my computer without having to hold them on me. So I just keep these draped over my pump, so when I need to use it, it's just right there. Here is the nursing bra from that company. So it just looks like a normal bra, but I like this one because it has the padding and it just looks natural. The one I have on right now does not have padding in it. But this one just looks better on with the padding. So if I want a bra like that, this is the one that I have. I also have this in like a pretty teal color. That's just kind of fun. I have a lot of nursing bras because that's all I wear now. I have to. So I will link these down below for you guys if you're interested in them. I highly recommend these clip-on things if you guys are pumping. And if you're not pumping, consider pumping, because I think it's just a good thing to have some extra breast milk on hand. As far as clothing goes, I've been wearing just very light layers, typically just a t-shirt or a tank top with a jacket. It makes it the most easy when I'm nursing. If you have something thick and heavy, it's just a pain in the butt. So my day-to-day outfit is typically leggings or workout pants with a v-neck t-shirt or a tank top. This is from Gap. I've been wearing this a lot. Just easy t-shirts that are quick, that you can just lift up, have been working for me. I don't even really use nursing type of clothing items because it's just not really necessary. I'm just at home all day. It's not, I could definitely see myself using those more if I was on the go and I had a nurse like in public somewhere, but since I'm just at home, I just like wearing light layers, and that's what works for me. As far as night feedings go, oh my god, I feel like this video is already all over the place. Sorry about that. I usually feed them every 3 hours, like I said earlier, and I always wake the other one up. So if one wakes up to eat, I will right away wake the other one up and nurse her. And I'll kind of just make sure she's awake a little bit to nurse so she'll get some milk. I'm looking at my notes that I wrote down for things to mention to you guys. One other thing that really helps is sitting up when I nurse. When I used to first breastfeed them, I would do it in our bed. And for some reason, it just didn't feel right. So now I always nurse on the couch or I nurse in their room on their little rocker. I just find that when I'm sitting upright, it's so much easier, and it just, for some reason, helps them a lot more. When I'm kind of leaning back, it just didn't work as much. So if you're kind of struggling, try sitting up more. Like I mentioned earlier about working out, I'm now not trying to work out as much. Around 10 weeks or 9 weeks, I started working out again, and I just was doing cardio, like a long walk, or I would go on the treadmill for 40 minutes at an incline. But now what I'm doing is just doing a little bit of cardio, because I get a lot of cardio already at home because I'm running around doing stuff. So when I go to the gym now, I just do weights, and I'll just do a circuit of legs and arm weights just on the machines, and I will do a low amount of weight and do high reps, and I'm slowly building up my strength so I can get, you know, add on a little bit more weight. But I found that that's helped, so I'm not, it just isn't as hard on my body. I just think that all of a sudden I was getting really excited about losing weight, and I was only 5 pounds from where I started. And Andrew is currently trying to lose weight right now, and so we were eating really lean. And I just think that that is when I was getting those issues with my milk supply. So I'm trying to not be as, I mean, like, I'm totally content with my body right now. My stomach is just a little bit loose to skin, but it's totally fine. So I'm trying to not focus as much on losing weight as I am on getting nutrition into me for the babies, because I'd much rather be producing more milk and breastfeeding them than getting in shape. As far as food, I'm trying to up my calorie intake, so I'm also trying to eat more oatmeal. So in the morning I'll either eat oatmeal, cereal, or eggs and toast, and just trying to kind of snack throughout the day. I love apples and almond butter. Smoothies are good. I've been doing some gluten-free pizzas. Just kind of what I always ate, just trying to eat more, and then also just trying to drink a lot more water. I do the Milkmaid tea, and I also tried to do the Mother Love tablets, or they're like little supplements. I also got fenugreek. I think that made Violet really constipated though, and I know that could be a side effect. It can get them constipated. It didn't affect June, which is so funny. So I'm not sure if that was making her constipated or the formula. So I'm trying to just do all things that I possibly can. If you guys have some tips that you have done to help increase your milk supply, leave them down below. I'd love to hear them. I hope this video was helpful for you guys. I hope I covered everything that I wanted to. It's definitely been a process, a learning experience, but I love breastfeeding. I just think it's such a bonding experience with your babies, and I love having just that one-on-one time. And they're so cute now when they go to nurse. They're just really cute. It has had its ups and downs, that is for sure. But when they are nursing and there's milk and they're gulping, I'm just so happy. So anyways, thank you guys so much for spending the time with me today, and I will talk to you guys very soon. Bye.